The 643DP podcast with Derek and Patrick.
For the 643.
The stream is about to begin.
For the 643. For the 643.
Just what the doctor ordered.
For the 643. For the 643.
Get your questions ready. Derek and Patrick will be on in 1 minute.
For the 643.
Just what the doctor ordered.
For the 643. For the 643. For the 643.
The stream will begin in 30 seconds.
For the 643. For the 643.
Just what the doctor ordered.
This is the 643DP podcast with Derek and
For the
Patrick.
643.
The show is about to begin.
Okay, the lineup for tonight's game against the Kansas City Royals. DJ LeMahieu leading off at third base. He's been hot with the home runs. Gio's got the night off, a little bit sore. He fouled the ball off of his shin. Should be okay. Aaron Judge back out there in center field tonight. Gary Sanchez back behind the dish. Hopefully he can stay hot. Giancarlo Stanton is your designated hitter tonight. And Luke Voigt, who homered and tripled in his second season debut, back out there at first base. Gleyber Torres in the midst of a miserable slump. He is at shortstop. Miguel Andujar back out there in left field. He needs to get going again, as does Clint Frazier, who is out there in right field. And Rougned Odor has still not been launched into the sun. And on the mound, Mike King. He has been a little bit up and down this year. He's been better out of the bullpen. His sinker is pretty good, but sometimes it can take him a while to get into a groove. Hopefully he can have success early, and that might lead to a good night. The Yankees need one. What up, what up, what up, what up?
What's going on, Derek?
How you doing, Patrick, man?
Bro, I can't complain. How are you doing, Derek? I think that's the main question here.
Oh, man, it's been a season, man. It's been a lot of ups and downs. I mean, 1 minute we're sweeping the White Sox. Next minute we're getting swept by Philly. Next minute we're on the rise again, and then we lose to the Royals. I don't know how much more I can take, dude.
It's so weird. No, it's like I'm in a toxic relationship with the New York Yankees. I feel like I say this so often, but it's like no matter how many times they hurt me, like I keep coming back for more. Like it's sick. And it's weird because like when they were so bad for like that period of like 3 weeks, I think, I was just numb to it at that point, right? I wouldn't even get myself worked up when they had like a heartbreaking loss. And now, like after last night, I'm back to being hurt again because I started to expect them to win again. And then bang, just when you think that they're back, we just get another heartbreaking loss. It's so frustrating.
And I was psyched about the possibility of Ketel Marte, but he left with a hamstring injury yesterday. And I liked the video you did today because I was thinking that the Yankees should put Hoeny Park in center field, and I found out they did.
Yeah.
I don't know how good he's going to be, but it makes sense to roll those dice if he can hit. He's from the left side. He's obviously got some speed. He looks athletic. I like his swing
Beautiful
a lot.
Swing. Beautiful swing. Oh, my God.
I don't want to sound like – I mean, you know how this is going to sound, but, like, it reminds me of Ohtani's swing. Like, it's that same – that golfy type of Eastern-style swing. And he's had an uptick in power this year. Maybe he's figured something out. I mean, I like a guy who can hit 360 in AAA to at least do something at the big league level.
1,000%. I guess kind of like while we're on this topic, I'll bring up this idea to you that I bring up on my streams just about every day at this point. I'm speaking it into existence. I'll say that. I want the Yankees to do this. I want them to send down Clint Frazier, and by doing that, you call up Trey Ambergy, a guy who's raking in AAA. I think he's hitting like 370, something like that. And then also at the same time, you DFA Rougned Odor, bro. Get him, like, shoot him to the moon, as you said when you were announcing lineups. Shoot him into the sun. It's just not worth our time anymore. And you call up Hoeny Park. And in that case, not only do you get a guy who could provide a better bat than Rougned Odor, I guess equivalent defense, better speed, more versatility, but you also acquire a guy like in Trey Ambergy that could, I don't know, be just... I think the potential that these two could have coming up at the same time would be the same impact as like Judge and Austin in 2016, right? When they just provided the Yankees with just such a new life. And even after selling off the deadline, that team almost made the postseason just because they called up these young guys and injected some new life into the team. And I think they could do that now.
That's the same thing that happened in 2005 with Chen-Ming Wong and Robinson Cano, and then 2007 with Phil Hughes, Jabba Chamberlain, and Ian Kennedy. Yeah. Sometimes just bringing in some youth can, like, I don't know, just add something to the team, like a type of energy that doesn't exist. There's something about being young and hungry and wanting to prove yourself. It just kind of rubs off on the other guys. No veteran wants to have their spot taken or at-bats taken away from them by some young kid, so it's going to make them play a little bit harder. And I agree with you about Clint Frazier. I want Clint Frazier to succeed so much. I mean, his bat speed, it does things to me, Patrick. His bat speed is
you know great. How much I love Clint.
He's just got this beautiful swing, and I'm not convinced that he doesn't have a problem and Glaber doesn't have a problem with their vision. I honestly think that could be an issue. It's not uncommon, and these guys, they're too good to be struggling this much. They're just too good for it.
I know. It's really weird. And, like, I love Clint Frazier more than anybody, right? And going into the season, I thought the dude was going to have, like, an MVP caliber season. And I still think that he has the potential to do so. Obviously not this year at this point. But I think if you trade Clint Frazier to a place like Arizona, I think he will absolutely flourish. I think we'll see the guy that we thought that the Yankees were going to get this whole time. And you know how I mentioned that I'm in a toxic relationship with the New York Yankees? So is Clint Frazier, bro, because I think at this point, like, it's just not working out. I don't think that he ever truly got the opportunity that he deserved. Even if you look earlier on into the season when he was the Yankees' starting left fielder, he was benched for 2 games, like 10 games into the year. It's just all this stuff. I don't think Clint Frazier is kind of in the right mental state for New York. Obviously, I don't know what goes on in the guy's mind, but just based on past experiences as well, right? All the trouble that he's had with New York media and kind of how he had to humble himself. I think that the Clint Frazier we see on the Yankees right now is not who Clint Frazier actually is. And I think the only way we could see him kind of break out of that shell and just be comfortable in his approach and in the clubhouse would be with another team. So I would say trade Clint Frazier at the deadline.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense to do that, and it sucks to trade at a low point, but sometimes you just got to do that, just give a guy a fresh start. I'll tell you what, it's been like 2 days, and I'm already completely tired of the inspections of the pitchers. It's the guys taking off their pants on the mound. Come on, what are we doing here? What are we doing?
No, Derek, it's so weird, and like it bothers me a little bit because I don't know how to feel about it. Right? I don't know who to be mad at in this situation because I think I'm a little bit mad at everyone just about how the whole situation has gone down. I'm mad at MLB for kind of instituting these rules in the middle of the season, which is so weird, out of nowhere. And then second of all, I'm also kind of mad at the players for kind of being babies about it. I'm sorry, but like Sergio Roma, like you don't need to be pulling down your pants like in the middle of the field. Like I don't know what kind of point you think you're making. It's not even funny. It's just weird.
It's just weird, man. It's not what I tune in. Like, look, I don't want to tune into a baseball game and see a dude's freaking sliding pants. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to see that on my television. I'm over it. And did you see the whole thing with Scherzer and Girardi? I mean, how stupid was that? First of all, I like the gamesmanship by Girardi. If you're allowed to check it, screw with him. Girardi takes advantage of every, angle that he can. He's just that type of guy. So I like that. Screw with Max Scherzer. It clearly worked. It got under his skin. But then Max Scherzer, showing everybody his bald spot, taking off his hat, taking off everything in the dugout. He starts pulling out, I thought he was going to pull out his Johnson, man. I swear to God. When he starts taking out his belt as the umps are walking out there, I've never seen a person so frustrated on a major league mound. And then Girardi coming out and, challenging him to a fight. It's like, dude, I get Girardi, you're in shape for a 60-year-old man, but do you realize how long you'd be in the hospital if you tried to fight Max Scherzer? The dude would need brain, like, reconstruction.
It's so funny because, like, I imagine, like, if that was Aaron Boone in that situation, right? First of all, he would never call for the opposing pitcher to be checked. I can guarantee you that. Second of all, if that type of confrontation went down, he would go in his post-game press conference and said that he felt so bullied, and I don't think that he would have the mental strength to even go out there and manage the next day. No joke, Derek.
Just absolutely embarrassing for the sport. I just don't want to see this anymore.
But
I mean, how about we just have a gentleman's agreement like we do in golf, that you don't, like, kick the ball out of the woods. How about we have a gentleman's agreement? Don't put any, like, weird sticky shit on the ball. If you want to put something on to help you grip it so you don't drill somebody, fine. And we won't, like, inspect you. How's that? Like, just let's have a gentleman's agreement. If we start seeing 5 no-hitters in a month again, we bring back the checks. But maybe do it in the clubhouse in between innings.
Hear me out, though. Like, what if you just allow sticky substances, but also just juice the balls again at the same time? Because clearly in 2019, like, pitchers were still using stuff, but the balls were juiced, so it didn't really matter too much. Like, just go that route instead of this stupid process where the umpires are checking pitchers as they walk off the mound. People are taking off their belts, pulling down their pants. This can't go on forever. There's no way.
Dude, I love the baseball last year. Last year's postseason was so exciting. You had the games like Shane Bieber where we hit 12 runs off of the Indians or whatever, and then you have the pitchers duel later on. I felt like it was fair. I felt like both teams had a chance where anybody could go deep at any moment. You also could see the top flight pitchers just have like a shutdown night. I love the baseball last year. Let's go back to the 2020 baseball.
I agree.
So how's the grind going, man? This is your first time doing 162. It's my first time doing 162. I thought it would be fun to just kind of talk about, like, what have you picked up this season? We haven't done this a whole bunch. We've both been busy. Like, I see you're falling into routines. I'm getting my routines, my Yankees game day on the first day of the series, interview when I can't think of anything to say, that type of stuff.
Yeah, it's honestly, Derek, it's a blast. Going into the season, like, obviously this is my first year, like, doing, like, live pre-games and post-games for every single game. I think so far this year, I think we're in game, 72, 73 or something. I think I've missed maybe, like, 1 pre-game and 1 post-game, and that was because I was at the game. But other than that, like, it's such a fun grind, and I think people don't really understand it unless they do it themselves. It kind of just immerses you in the game at, like, such a level that you've never experienced before. You experience the highs and lows on a public stage. Like, it's crazy to think about, because usually, like, when people, like, get pissed off at the Yankees, they're in their own living room, like, screaming at their TV, right? But for us, it's like, when we, like, have emotions watching the Yankee game, we come on live 5 minutes after the game ends, and we could just rant our hearts out. Like, it's an amazing thing. And I'm just really looking forward to, like, seeing how the rest of the season progresses, because, Derek, we're kind of a part of the World Series film here, because the Yankees are going to win the World Series, and we're going to be able to look back at all these live streams of the brutal losses against Tampa and Kansas City and be able to realize, like, you know what? The Yankees did it after all that.
I don't want to boast here, but I've got 900,000 views on this channel since the season began, and I mean, there's almost no way that if there's a book about this season that I won't be mentioned. That Cashman rant where I'm calling for him to be fired was kind of like, that was a point. That was a point in the season. Like, I feel like, I had Brian Hoke on my podcast, and then the next day he goes at Aaron Boone in his clubhouse, and the Yankees go on a win streak. Like, it's just kind of cool to be intertwined with the season. I've never experienced anything like this. I mean, obviously, if you go to the stadium, you're involved to a certain degree. If you are Jeffrey Mayer and you reach over the fence and you interfere in the playoffs, I mean, then you're like that next level. But it's kind of cool to kind of interact with the fans, because I pick up their vibe, I pick up like their mood. And then, like, it bounces off of me, and then, like, they pick up on my, like, sometimes there are times when I'm just kind of calm, and people are like, why are you smiling? Why are you okay? And I'm like, because this is just one of the games that you're going to lose, Sometimes you just get beat. But then there are days when they blow it on the bases or whatever, and the fans, they might not have picked up on how big an issue it is to be bad at base running, but because I'm on here just killing them for it, like, seeing that spread, seeing things that I've said repeated on the internet and forums and stuff like that. It's just an odd, surreal feeling.
No, yeah, like Derek, I think this is something that's like so underrated too. Like just interacting with the chat after every single game every night. Like it's kind of therapeutic, right? Because like let's say the Yankees have a brutal loss, like everyone's like, oh, we need like an unhinged therapy session. Like hashtag Pat, give me a hug. Like, you know what I mean? Just stuff like that. And I think it does a service for people. It's almost like I said, it's like a therapy session. If people are stressed out about the game, going and ranting in a YouTube chat and watching me scream my lungs out, that's therapeutic for some people. I think it gets the job done. So as much as like lows as we experience though, like we also experience like a ton of highs as well. Like there's no better feeling than coming on live after like a walk-off home run.
Right.
And just like spam W's in the chat and just all kinds of fun stuff. It's such a journey and it's such a grind. I don't know about you, Derek, but I've sacrificed so much in my personal life so far this season.
Same.
Like, oh my God. And I feel like it's so worth it because at this point, like I don't find myself like being upset that I'm missing out on like social events because I have a post game to do. This is my number one priority.
Same.
And I think as time goes on, it's just going to keep becoming more and more so.
Yeah, like I had a watch party. I haven't done many watch parties, maybe 3 or 4 of them. And I did one on the night Corey Kluber threw a no-hitter. And we had 890-something people in the chats, which was my personal best ever. And people are just like they're counting down the outs. They're saying, I can't believe this. Like 2 or 3 people were like, I called at the beginning of the game. And one guy I know for sure did call it. I bought him a T-shirt because I said, if you're right, I'll buy you a T-shirt. And I mean, it was just like, that's going to be something I remember. I'm 100 years old, hooked up to the machine that's keeping my brain alive until it can be put into a jar.
Let's hope not, Derek.
Come on.
Damn.
My goal is to just live long enough until my brain can be put into a computer. And I figure, if you got to hook me up to some machines and just keep me going, then that's good enough. But one of the things that I'll dream about is the night of that no-hitter and just like experiencing that with everybody. And like it's just been so much fun doing this. And I don't know what podcasters you watch, but I used to watch a ton of YouTube, and now I find myself I don't even get to watch much anymore because I'm kind of like part of it. And so I don't get to experience it the way that people experience it anymore. Because you spend all day, especially with a full-time job. I spend all day working, and then I have to basically prepare and do this and watch the game all night. So I just don't have the time to do what I used to enjoy. And so like it's just weird just having it's almost like I flip-flopped 100% with like I used to watch Dan. Like I used to watch Dan's videos all the time. I never get to watch Dan anymore, but
Dan show. Quality content.
Dude, that was great. You guys are like you're like an old married couple, man.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, that's exactly that's essentially what we are, honestly. I mean, I've known Dan for like 3 years at this point. We just go back and forth. It's just natural. You know what I mean? Like sometimes like when people produce content together, like it feels forced, kind of like me and you, right? It's just natural in the sense of like we could debate about topics, and at the end of the day, like I'll be like, oh, that was great, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
So let's do some fan chats here.
Let's do it.
I haven't even looked at what people have been talking about because I've been so engulfed in our conversation. Lori C says that Pat and Dan go, or Derek and Pat go, the Yankees go. Hey, I can get on board with that.
That's very true.
Fritz says, thank you, therapy session. Watching Yankees here in Germany is even harder. Not to mention this evening's game in Soccer European Championship. That's already been hardcore. Hope the Yankees have fun. Did you see that thing where the guy freaking collapsed on the field the other day?
I did. That was like last week, right? I think he's alive, though.
Yeah, but it freaked me out. I was standing in line to pick up some food or something like that. No. I was at a... I think my wife and I went to dinner, and it was like we're in the waiting area, and it was up on the screen, and they were doing like chest compressions. It was crazy.
I don't know why they were showing that, though.
Oh, man. I remember back in 96, on opening day, John McSherry, he was a umpire. He was umping the Cincinnati Reds game, and he died in the first or second inning of the game. Just collapsed and had a heart attack on the field. It was crazy.
Oh, thanks for the info, Derek. I'll keep that one in my journal.
Dude, did I ever tell you about the dude who fell out of the upper deck in front of me?
Yes.
Oh, man.
I did hear that story. That's traumatizing.
For those of you who didn't hear the story, I was at a game in Atlanta a couple years ago, and A-Rod comes up to pinch hit late in the game, and like the crowd shifted down to the railings to like boo him, and one guy was just kind of drunk and booing too much, and he went right over the side. And my friend says, did that guy just fall over? No. What happened was I got a text like a minute later, and it was my boss, and he had been watching, and he said, "Hey, did someone fall out of the upper deck?" And he knew I was at the game, and I was like, "Wait a second." I said to my friend, I said, "Did somebody fall out of the upper deck?" He's like, "I thought I just saw somebody fall right over." And I just kind of just didn't process it. And so I walked down to the front and I looked over, and it was not pretty. And I go back to the seat, and my buddy's like, "Is he going to be okay?" And I was just like, "He is not going to be okay." It was bad.
That's terrible. That's like, bro, that's why I can't even sit up high there, bro.
Oh,
I would
man.
be terrified.
I do like to, when I'm at Yankee Stadium, I like to sit in section 420 up there right behind home plate, because you get a good view of the whole stadium. You get a really good view of the scoreboard. Like that, to me, those are the best seats in the house. They're not super expensive.
I don't go higher than main level. But Derek, before we do like kind of wrap things up, I want to get your opinion on one thing here.
What's that?
Thursday day games. I'm disgusted with them. I'm not, like, I despise Thursday day games. I never understood the concept. What do you think about those?
Well, it's called a getaway day. So the reason you do that is because if you're going from one series to the next, you want to leave travel time. So if you have to, let's say you're leaving New York at 10 o'clock, or 11 o'clock on a Thursday night, and you've got a Friday night game in, Chicago or elsewhere. Let's say there's weather delays for your flight, and your flight's delayed 3-4 hours. Then teams wouldn't arrive till like 5 or 6 in the morning. You hear that happen sometimes, but typically they try and build getaway days into the schedule to avoid that. Just kind of like how there's that built-in off day after the opening day of the season.
No, I get it. I just assume like Boston's like not that far of a trip, so I didn't think that they would kind of need to use that. I mean, I'm just not a fan of day games in general. I don't know. I love like nighttime baseball. That's like the peak of my life.
Luke Hughes says score prediction today. Do you got a score prediction?
Yeah, I made a score prediction in my pregame that I did previously. I think I predicted the Yankees to win tonight 5-2. I had Judge, Gary, and Glaber all going yard. Then I had King going 6 innings, 2 earned runs.
I'm gonna do the rare thing, which is predict a Yankee big offensive night. I think they're gonna win about 10-4. I think they're gonna put up some runs tonight. There's a really good lefty on the mound, Duffy, but he's coming off the injured list. So I don't think that they're going to push him too hard. So I think if the Yankees can cause him some difficulty early in the game, get his pitch count up, get him out of the game, you've got an entire 6 innings maybe to work on that bullpen. So I think the Yankees are going to have a good offensive night tonight.
Fair enough. I think they are going to hit him pretty well. I guess we'll see.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining the 643 DP, Patrick. Patrick, any farewell words?
My farewell words are, I just hope the Yankees don't break my heart again tonight. That's why I wore my heartbreak shirt today. Right now I'm heartbroken. I want that heart sewed back together tonight with a big win.
My final thoughts are Luke Voigt's going deep again.
Oh, I like it.
I like it. All right, guys. We'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It helps other Yankees fans find the channel. If you really enjoyed it, check out the swag section. We've got tons of great designs to support all your favorite Yankees. And if you simply cannot get enough Yankees content, check out the podcast version of this channel, The Frieze by NYY Recaps, available wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Derek. Thanks for watching.